smaller than this is the whole tone hexaton scale, based in dividing the octave in 6 parts. This scale doesn't come from the nature. It's conceptual. It's invented. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It's not tonal. Okay? And then, smaller than this, impossible. Because for our definition of a scale should go by intervals smaller than thirds. Because if I do smaller than this, it becomes an arpeggio. No? The division of the octave in 4 equal parts is the diminished arpeggio, not a scale. Okay? Because for us, a scale has the bigger interval is 1 second, not a third. Okay? So the symmetric scales are the whole tone scale and the diminished scale. Okay, one Russian composer invented another scale, which kind of it's not totally a scale, but anyway, it's considered a scale, symmetrical one. So this gentleman called Scriabin, Russian composer, invented a scale, very nice, which is also symmetrical, so divides the octave in, I think, 4 equal parts. It's called the Scriabin scale. Let me see if I write this okay. This one. I think it's this one. From here to here. So it's like augmented second, minor second, augmented second, minor second, augmented second, minor second.
Augmented triad. This comes from augmented triad. Is it?
Augmented, yes, you can do two augmented triads there. This is totally mathematics. Can you play this on the piano, please? Da, 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 ba, dee. Very nice. Yes, yes, it's totally symmetrical. You see, half step, major augmented second, half step, augmented second, half step, and augmented second. So it's kind of a tricky scale. It's like another attempt to divide the octave in symmetrical parts. Okay? So, these scales, of course, you cannot make songs with these scales. You may try, but probably you won't never sell the song. Nobody likes. Okay? Because people like not symmetrical things. Okay? This is totally symmetrical, so it's atonal. No tonality in this scale. It's impossible. Anyway, you can attach these scales to tonality. This is what jazz musicians do, especially with the diminished scale. This one, the Scriabin scale, you can. Bela Bartok wrote in the Concerto for Orchestra. There is a movement which is maybe 3 or 4 minutes. The orchestra playing this scale. You can hear, it's amazing. It's like a dream, you know. In Concerto for Orchestra, Bartok. I think it's the 3rd movement. I don't know. Can't remember. It's the beginning is this scale. This scale playing the basses. Then comes the medium strings. Then the up strings. Then the woodwinds. Everybody playing this scale like for about 3 minutes, and that's like a dream. Now you get like. It's better than smoking 5 joints. You get completely stoned. Okay, it's really it's very interesting the sound because it's totally not real. It's like a dream. It's something really out. You know that in movies, in movies, in Hollywood movies, it was very typical to use this scale to make a kind of dreamish ambience, like for dreams. No? Can you play, Rico? Can you play this the whole tone scale very fast, like you see? Okay, it's like a kind of very something very not clear, like a dream or something. They use that in films. Okay, this one. So there are no more ways to divide the octave. In symmetrical way, okay? So there is another thing you should know, because you are musicians, you should be curious about music, and you should know this is not for studying now. It's no point. If you want to become composers, you know, and really investigate deeply in music, you should be aware of two things. One guy, classical guy called Olivier Messiaen, French composer. This gentleman wrote wrote a book, a very complex book, about his concept of symmetrical scales. So he wrote a whole book. And I don't know in English the name. In French, it's like I translate in English straight.
Yeah, we know who.
You know the book?
Yes.
Like this. Very complex. Don't read this book if you want to play songs. Okay? Maybe it's this, no? Mars. In French, it's a traité de mon langage musical, in French. Treaty of my musical language. Something like that. It's like a big book like this. The guy relates all the symmetrical investigation he did relates with not only the scales but with the rhythms. So when he composed like with symmetrical ideas and totally mathematical ideas in a way, in the pitch, the chords and the rhythm, all related like a whole thing, you know. So it's something you should know. It's very dense and very. So you must know a lot of music to open this book and understand one page. Okay. But anyway, it's there. Another thing, all jazz musicians from bebop time studied. And it's not a jazz book. This is very important. You can get this over internet, the PDF. Also, it's a whole book about scales. It's not for jazz. It's a book from classical composer. He wrote in the 40s. And some guys, the first jazz musicians to be educated enough to understand the classical 19th, 20th century compositional techniques, which were Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, all these guys, they were enough educated in music to start to understand this. They all study by this book. It's called another Russian guy. book, the American edition of the book is called Tesauros of Scales and Melodic Patterns. It's a huge book. The composer, let me see, is a Russian guy called... Okay, anyway, this book is amazing. No, not for jazz. The guy makes all scales possible and not that have been played and not played yet. All the possible permutations of notes are in this book. Okay, it's totally mathematical. Okay? Hear the name. Okay, the book, this is the name of the author, okay, Nicholas Sloninsky. Okay, it's a Russian composer that emigrated to the United States in the, maybe in the 30s, like a lot of composers. So in the United States, this guy started to teach in New York, I guess, in one famous school. And he was teacher of composition. And he got very famous because the guy was really something else. Was like a computer, you know. And these first guys to study with him were Miles Davis, you know, probably Charlie Parker, but he died very young. John Coltrane for sure, and all the other guys, they studied this book and studied probably with the guys. So he was not a jazz musician, he was a classical composer. And very funny, Frank Zappa studied with the guy and was his close friend. And if you go to YouTube, you can see this old man. He died very old. He died almost in this century. He died maybe in 2000. He survived Frank Zappa, which was much younger than him.
Frank Zappa 即係師傅個師傅。
And this gentleman, you can see a video in YouTube where Frank Zappa invited him to play with his band, with his rock band. And you see the old man with a coat, dressed like an old functionary, you know, coat, you know, coming to the stage, and Frank Zappa, wow, come on, and the keyboard, and the guy plays his shit with the Frank Zappa band. Totally guys with long hair, rock guys, you know. So, but Frank Zappa said that this guy was a genius, and he was a genius, okay? And this gentleman really, this book changed American music. In the last half, the second half of the 20th century, all these guys studied from this book. Don't expect nice phrases and nice things jazz related in this book. It's a totally classical book for composers. But there you can, why these guys love this book? Because he has all the possible scales that you can imagine are there, because they come from mathematical, okay? So it's like a huge book of scales and chords, because also he builds the chords mathematically, so all the chords are there. The chords dissonant and the chords consonant, everything, okay? So the guy was totally crazy, this guy. That's why Frank Zappa loved the guy, because Frank Zappa, as you know, was an incredible composer, and he was also very crazy. So, this is for you to know. Not important now, because you have other things to do now, but you should know about this. Okay? For later on to start to... I remember I got this book when I was very young. Some guy told me, you have to get this book. And I got this, and only maybe 20 years later I start to understand and the utility, how the book can be used. Okay? Because everybody, I read in the Downbeat and the American magazines, like, Tesauros of Scales, Coltrane studied there. Mine says, okay, I'm gonna get the book. And I didn't understand nothing. I just put the book in the bookshelf for maybe 25 years. And now I can open the book and starts to make sense, a lot of things, okay? So don't expect this will solve anything, nothing. It's not a jazz book. It's just something you have to know, okay? Because this gentleman just got all the possible scales that are played already and to be played in the future. Oh, it's impossible to get more scales, okay? Okay, we are talking about symmetries. So the diminished scale, from all these scales, the diminished scale is the most used for starting with the bebop players. Why? Because in a diminished scale, you know the bebop players love the tritones. Ta ta don, ta ta don, ta ta, pa pa don, ta. This, okay? The tritone sound is connected to bebop. Of course, it was stolen, for instance, by the Brazilian guys. Ta da da di da 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 di ta ta, ta da da di da 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 di ta. Okay, but this, and the Brazilian guy says, if you think I'm out of tune, and he sings a tritone. Now the lyrics says da 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 da, I'm out of tune. Okay, so it's when he composed the song, it was in the 60s, Carlos Jobim. When he composed the song, of course, still now singing a tritone is being out of tune, because nobody would sing a tritone, you know, like just a tritone, because you can sing a tritone if the tritone goes to somewhere else. You can sing like ti toro ra ti toro, but ti ton, that note. The tritone is an important note in popular music. I mean, I think Jobim was the first one to make a hit song, bossa nova, with a tritone. Maybe he had a beautiful girl singing that.
Yes.
Astrud Gilberto with Stan Getz. I think was the first one. This Brazilian singer, they made a record in the United States in the beginning of the 60s, famous record, with Stan Getz, a famous saxophone player. And they made this record called Bossa Nova or something like that, which made everybody famous. The composer, the singer, the musician, everybody. And Bossa Nova became really world known because of this, because was made popular in the United States. Otherwise, very little chance. No. So, but it's interesting because Jobim, these bossa nova composers, and João Gilberto, the other guy, they went to the States and to study music. They were musicians, and when they got into the United States by the middle 50s, late 50s, they just went and found the bebop musicians. So they learned the bebop sound, the chords, everything. When they come back to Brazil, they start to apply these chords into the samba. Samba is the original music, okay? So it was born bossa nova. Bossa nova is samba with jazz chords, with bebop chords, and in a certain way, bebop melodies. This is jazz, you know. Okay, so the guys, they were so clever that they made kind of bebop influenced music become really, really commercial. Okay, this is genius. Not everybody can do this, I'm telling you. Making something complex and not commercial into a commercial thing, and with good taste, is not for everybody. It's just for genius. Okay? Because if you want to be commercial, you play songs with two chords and with dull and stupid melodies, and then you become commercial. Okay? But playing nice songs with a lot of chords, with nice melodies and complex, and become commercial, that's for genius and probably God. You know that now it's a joke. You know, I remember that a musician's joke. One guy died and went to hell. Okay, hell, a musician. Then arrived to hell with his saxophone, and he heard a big band playing, and the guy said, "Wow, great, nice big band playing." And then come the devil. I mean, it's hell. Christian hell. Comes the devil and says, "Come on, you! There! Okay, follow me!" And the guy with the horn and the big band closer in a room. And then the guy arrived, and there was an empty seat near John Coltrane, and Charlie Parker was the lead out. And the guy, "Wow, I dreamed all this my life now. This is not hell, this is heaven." And then he sat down and said, "Hello, how are you?" And the guy said, "Come on, play." And the party started to play. And then all the guys, Miles Davis there, you know, all the guys there. And I said, oh, this is heaven, not hell. And then after half an hour he said, hey, this is heaven, come on, hey, nice to meet you. This is heaven, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to die, you know. So I am the guy said, no, this is hell. I said, no, this is heaven, I'm playing besides you, this is great. All the guys here, so I'm very happy. The guy said, no, this is hell. Why is hell? Because God is the singer. He said, God is the singer and he is late. So it's a musician's joke, okay? Okay, so the tritones in this diminished scale this is diminished, and then the possible tritones in this diminished scale. You know, the tritones, they like to resolve. No, they are dissonant and they like to expand or shrink. No, like this tritone. The tritone of G7 is FB. When G7 goes to C, makes this. No. B goes to C and F goes to E. Can you play this, please? You played this already. Okay. So everybody knows this. Also, there is a more subtle resolution for this tritone, which is called the enharmonic resolution, which is shrinking. Goes smaller. So it's like G7 going to G flat, which is like the real tritone. Can you play this? Okay. So the tritone can go like this and like this. Okay. So the diminished scale, the major scale only has one tritone, right? So if you want to play songs with the major scale or minor scale, you only have one tritone, so you don't go very further with this. Just over the fifth chord or any dominant secondary goes one tritone and resolution. With the diminished scale, you have four tritones. First, this one. Now you have to tell me where are the tritones. This is one. Next tritone. D flat G. Okay. Next, E flat A. Okay? And E, B flat, E natural, B flat. And then after this is the same. No? F sharp, C. It's here. So 4. Okay? So if one tritone goes to 2 different places, 4 tritones go to 8 different places. Okay? Right? So the diminished scale is like a bomb. Can go to 8 different places. Okay. So first tritone, this. This one, if I do this, F sharp goes to G and C goes to B. So this is D7 going to G, right? If instead of expanding this shrinks, so it's like F sharp going to F, down, and C going to D flat. So it's like D7 going to D flat major, right? So only this. So this one is the same. Instead of D7 is E7 going to A and E7 going to E flat major. Then this one, no, sorry, this is E flat 7 is half step up. E flat 7 going to A flat and E flat 7 going to D. Then this one is F7 going to B flat and F7 going to E. This is mathematical. You understand what I'm not writing this. It's too tedious to write, but it's totally mathematical. So a diminished scale can go to 8 different places. So imagine in these bebop tunes, you have all these fast 2/5s or fast dominants, and imagine a diminished scale that can play over 8 dominants. Huh? Okay? Like the beginning of conception. You have what's diminished scale that holds these 2 chords? Because every diminished scale, as you see, every diminished scale, there are 4 dominants inside the scale, right? There are more. Look. Tritons. Okay. So, when you have B flat 7, it's not this diminished. This diminished has no D. You see, like B7 and F7, they are here. These chords, those 2 dominants are not in this diminished scale, but they are in this one. Exactly. Because how many diminished scales can we build? 3. There are only 3. It's impossible more diminished. How many whole tone scales can we build? 2. Okay. So Messiaen used to say that those scales were the how we call those scales? Limited transpositions, scales of limit transpositions. So diminished scale, there are only 3. You only can transpose 3 times with the scale and 2 times more. The whole tone only 2 times, only the scale and 1 transposition. Okay, so I don't want to be wasting a lot of time with this here, because this is something you have to do if you want to open your minds. Okay? Or not. Maybe you don't want to open your mind. Mistake here. Okay. Now, this is the diminished scale. The other another one. So this chord is here, and this one could be here or here. Okay. So it means that both scales, both chords belong to this scale. So it means that if you play this scale over these 2 bars, you are in all the time. Okay?
總之呢個世界得3隻 diminished chord 嘅啫嘛，咁你總之包剪揼、包加揼、包加剪、剪加揼嘅啫嘛，全部都係。總之呢4個就係 book 8個 scale 就係4個砌4個形成嘅啫 咁你咁諗就好簡單㗎。
Another thing, bebop musicians, as I told you, they love to play the flat nines all the time. And you have the flat nines here. B flat 7, flat 9 is B, right? So the top of this chord is this chord. You can put the chords on top. You know, they all are connected. You understand?
因為全部都係小三度。
So if you want B flat sharp 9, it's here in the scale. If flat 9, it's here in the scale. So every time you have a B flat 9, B flat 7, flat 9, B flat 7, sharp 9, boom. Okay? And how they arrive to this? They arrive to this because of this easy, the first bebop phrases we start to talk about, like this. Okay, this is a diminished arpeggio, with the flat 9, third, flat 7, fifth. So they were all the time playing this, up and down, down, up, whatever combinations of sounds. Say do ba da ba da ba do ba. Okay. So the voice leading here, same note here, same note here. So, voice leading, very important for the solos. C goes to B, E flat goes to E, okay? And so this goes to E flat major, so some notes go to their places in the arpeggio of E flat major. So this, if this is too fast, if you play this scale, you are in, okay? You are in. So, in the bebop time, they didn't play the scale up and down, they played the scale in fractions, in arpeggios, small arpeggios. They used the diminished arpeggio, very, very used, no, as you know.
大家都識㗎嚇 ，seven flat nine 嘅上邊咧3、5降7降9音就係一個 diminish 嘅關係嚟㗎嚇，全部都係小三度，3、5降7降9啊，你睇翻個 B flat 7嗰度啊，呢個前提啊。
For the guitarists, this is good news because anything you play here, you play a minor third up, everything is there. You get really fast and really as you like, all the guitarists. So you play like, you know, in minor thirds.
咁所有嘢褪小三度就係呢個減
In minor thirds, every phrase you play will sound perfect if you respect the same organization of notes. For the trumpet is a little more difficult. Or the trombone, or the saxophone. For the violin maybe, if you work that very well, maybe it becomes easy. Yes, yes. If he plays by positions, also. So, what the bebop musicians used a lot, and why this becomes then, they used like for B flat 7, like if it's flat 9, okay, they use like, okay, let's do the typical bebop phrase. Okay, this is a chromatic, and then you have 3, 5, flat 7, flat 9, sharp 9, and flat 9. And can you play this, Rico? Ba da ba da dee do. another resolution. Yes. Okay. This is a famous bebop phrase, which you have the arpeggio of the going to the sharp 9 and the flat 9. So the sharp 9 and the flat 9 are sisters. They are the same because they belong to the same scale. So the guys were all the time playing it's the same. It's the same. Okay, it's the diminished sound. Okay? So all the arpeggios in bebop, they deal mostly with these sounds. And the resolutions of the flat 9 and resolution of the flat 9 and the sharp 9. Normally the flat 9 goes to the 5th, and this one is like is the sister, goes with her, you know, and makes the sound of the diminished scale. Okay? Now imagine, very good news. If you know this phrase very well, you can play this phrase over at least 4 chords. Which, if you play this in D flat, you are okay. If in E7, you are okay. And if you play this in G7, you are okay. The 4 chords belong to the same diminished scale. Very good news. So, if you know a very good jazz phrase like this in the diminished scale, you can play the phrase in 4 tonalities. So there are 12 tonalities. You only know. Come on, only 3 phrases I have to know. Because I can go to. Of course, some tonalities the phrase sounds really natural. Other tonalities sounds a bit forced, but the resolutions are always the same. Okay? Because this is mixing symmetrical material with asymmetrical material. Ou seja, you understand what I say? It means that if you put a scale that is totally okay, if you play this tone and play this phrase and then play B flat 7 left hand going to E, and then D7 sounds great, E7 great, G7 great, and the notes take different sounds depending on the chord you play. Can you play slow? Can you play, Rico, can you play this arpeggio slow with B flat and then with D flat? Just play easy chord, like root, 3rd, 7th, like, okay, D flat. Okay, it goes to E flat now, D flat 7, you see? Going to G flat, okay? Now, E7, okay, A major,
A major 7.
A major, okay, and then G7, finally G7 going to C. No, yeah, I told that the resolutions were not obvious. In some keys, the resolutions of these 2 sister tensions, in some keys they are really natural. Other keys you have to make some help them. Okay.
純粹講3、5、降7、降9嗰4粒音係完全 share 一模一樣嘅，咁你要就翻個 key 嘅時候加翻佢嘅升9下。
So, to understand the power of the diminished scale in the jazz language is amazing. Okay? So all these notes except this one also, in this case. I consider this chromatic approach, but in this case also this note belongs to the diminished. It's this one. But here it sounds as a chromatic approach. So, all the notes belong to this diminished scale. Okay? So, as I told you, a diminished scale can go directly to 4 tonalities and not that directly to another 4. So 8 tonalities. Okay? Because why? Because the diminished scale has directly 4 tritones. And directly another 4, so it goes to 8 keys. When I say directly and indirectly, it's because of the inversion. No? Inversion. D7 goes to G, but A flat goes to B flat. So 8 keys, only counting with the inversion. Anyway, over a diminished scale, you can find more tritones on top. Like, if you make a chord, look, this is something you have to study by yourself, because I cannot explain this here. You know, it's kind of. If you do this chord with this, the flat 9, B flat 7, then you have another tritone here. Okay? If you put the sharp 9, you have another tritone with the G. So imagine the potential of this. If you play, because it's totally symmetrical, this. If you play B flat 7, 13, sharp 11, flat 9.
係4個加4個啫，你咁樣諗易諗好多。你諗一條 scale 搭上去，你搭唔掂嘅。4個 diminish 自己就已經可以成為 tritone 啦，已經有4組 tritone 喺度，你每一個數上去都係 tritone 嚟㗎嘛。咁呢個 scale 就4個加4個，所以就8個人8咁自己疊上去都可以 tritone， 所以根本呢個 scale 就係全部都係由 tritone 組成。所以你無論係疊小3度上去或者小2度大2度上去，佢所有關係都係。因為佢完全對稱嘅，所以佢啲對稱音階，對稱音階就勁係咁樣啫。咁你唔會呢個世界得3條diminish嘅，咁你唔係3個8有24咁多，因為其他就長條包剪揼3個啫嘛，包加揼包加剪揼加包啊嘛，同埋包永遠都係包，剪永遠都係剪，所以即係呢個係數學問題嚟嘅呢個。點齊翻數學就
So, if you analyze any bebop solo, and because the guys play all the time arpeggios, we have been working on that. Mostly they play arpeggios, okay? The inherent scale, when every time they play a flat 9, normally is the diminished scale. They don't play the diminished scale. I never saw any Charlie Parker phrase with the diminished scale from the top to the bottom. But the sound is there. Okay? Later on, when with a short interval, maybe of 10 years, people like Coltrane, Miles Davis, and these guys, the next step was assuming the scale as a scale with 8 notes. Okay? So jazz evolution was very quick, and they played the scale in arpeggios, and then they start to play the scale by itself. Okay, so you can hear by the late 50s, 60s until now, people playing the diminished scale. Okay, with 8 notes. So you should do, if you want to know more, you investigate yourself. Some guys, they buy millimetric paper and they do all the calculations. And good luck if you want to do that. Now you can do it with the computer, with the Excel. Put this on the Excel and then work on this. Because this is totally mathematical. Okay? So what's the good news about this? It's really that all the phrases that are made out of the diminished scale, they really can go to 8 keys. Some phrases better than others, of course, as we heard. Because the notes are really half step of the notes they should go. In other scales, you have to adapt. No, it depends. So, even in modern bebop, modern jazz players nowadays, you can hear these resolutions coming from the bebop time, based in diminished scale. Okay, now to end this class, the cousin of the diminished scale, which is tonal. Okay, imagine the diminished scale like a scale from outer space. outside of this world. Okay, this one. There is another one which is a little more inside this world, which is the melodic minor, which is a cousin of this one. And next day I talk about the melodic minor, which is very close to this, but very different. Why is close? A lot of notes are similar. The difference between the melodic and diminished, first difference, this is tonal. 7, one scale with 7 notes belongs to earth, not from outer space, okay? This is a tonal scale, this is not tonal, this is totally mathematic, okay? So, but they have a lot of sounds in common. Look, this note, this, no, this and this. Okay? They have 6 notes in common. Of course, that one has 8 notes, so that scale is always different, no? Because it's much more condensed. In the space of an octave, the diminished scale puts 8 different sounds. In the space of an octave, the melodic minor scale puts 7 sounds, so it's more widely separated, okay, the sounds. So, but they are very common. They have a lot of notes in common. 6 notes are the same, okay? 1 note makes the big difference. Matter, 2 notes. You know? But this one has 2 versions of B flat, so I would say 1 note. Really is 1 note. This one. A flat. Because here is A natural. B, it's here. C sharp, it's here. D, it's here. So the only note that it's impossible is the note that this one can't. Okay? So it's A flat. So when you play or when you hear a jazz phrase that resembles you a diminished phrase, maybe it's the so-called altered. Okay? Doesn't come from the diminished, and is a tonal phrase. Okay? So the altered dominant phrase is made from this. No, in this case it's made here. Like you can do this here. This is the altered. This is, it should be C sharp 7, D flat 7 altered. Okay? So, same chord, same thing. The only thing you can't do with this, you can't go to 8 keys. Impossible, because this is tonal. So with C sharp 7, you go to F sharp, or you go to C down, or you go nothing more. You cannot go to 8 keys. No, that's only with the diminished scale. Okay? Because this is tonal, and the other scale, diminished, is not tonal. Okay? For your information, the diminished scale, you can build 4 minor chords in the diminished scale, 4 half diminished chords, 4 dominants. Okay? So, when the musicians start to work with the scale, not the arpeggios out of the scale, as the boppers did. So when John Coltrane and Miles Davis, they start to work with the scale, they found out that they can play diminished scale over a minor chord. Because the minor chords are there. You can do, the first minor chord you can do is this one, E minor, E, G, B, D, in minor 7. And then in a row of minor thirds you have more 3. G minor 7, D flat minor 7, and E minor 7. Okay? So you can hear John Coltrane playing diminished scales over minor chords. Okay?
一樣咧，總之任何嘢咧，diminished scale 攞到出嚟嘅，你揾到一個 7又好，你揾到個 minor 7又好，你所有嘢揞高佢、揞低佢小三度，全部都套得落去。
Okay? And I may play you something that I remember. Yeah, over a minor chord, which resembles a Coltrane. Like E minor, like. I hope it's this one. Let's see. Not this one. This one. Okay. The only thing you have to do is don't get into the wrong notes. Just move into the right notes. So like. Okay, Coltrane has a tune that goes like this. Minor chords in minor thirds. For what? To practice the diminished scale. This tune is called Man's Log Noise. Like, I don't know. I will see the name. It's like, goes like. So the scale is this one. Okay. So these sounds are very used in jazz, in modern jazz. Which means if you want to compose a modern tune, please don't put 2-5-1s. Move your bass, the roots, move in seconds, in minor thirds, in major thirds. Don't do cyclo fifths, because if you do cyclo fifths, maybe you become rich, but you are writing popular music. Okay? Commercial. So, if you analyze the modern compositions, whatever, you will see that the chords move in seconds, in thirds, any interval except the cycle of fourths. Because if you do the cycle of fourths, you are back, you leave this, and you go back to the tonality, to the old days. Okay? So, it's true, if you analyze any tune nowadays, if you want to sound modern, just stick some chords in thirds, in seconds, in half steps. Cycle of fifths, bossa nova, standard. Okay? Basically this. Okay, so we do a break and then we have to check all the bebop tunes. Because we have a counter.